This is going to provide an opportunity for the Rotary Foundation to be giving small grants to various community groups, and we're very excited to do that. I have asked Mr. Steve Knoll to demonstrate and walk the room a little bit. We are working on getting new badges, so everybody will have badges, and so he is working the room to kind of show you what we're thinking about in terms of a badge. Thank you again, John Wall, for helping us come up with a template. We want to make this simple. We can replicate it, and we're going to be talking about if we want to change the border maybe for red badge people, but it'll streamline it, and it'll help everybody feel a little more engaged, especially as you've all been doing a wonderful job of welcoming new members, potential members to, yes, Steve, if you would like to come over here so you can show the Zoom people as well. All right, I'm going to move out of the way so you can show them. All right, thank you, Steve. We do have a couple of guests today, and so I just wanted to recognize Dr. Ken Gimple, who came and spoke a couple of meetings ago, and he is over Zoom, so please give a wave, Dr. Gimple. And he has turned in his application, so we are happy. We will be taking his application to the upcoming board meeting and be voting on that. So we're really excited about that. I am also, we have a guest that Joni Underwood has brought today.
Well, whoops.
It's a microphone thing.
You think I would have been trained by now, wouldn't you? Well, I'm thrilled to be able to introduce my good friend, Marge Welpley. And Marge, if you would come up here so then everybody can see you. Anyway, I have been working on Marge to come to a meeting and to consider Rotary for 2 years. So we were playing cards the other day and she succumbed. That was after beating me 3 times. So welcome, Marge.
Welcome, Marge. So also think about if we're able to reorganize the room a little bit better, it might be an easier way so that we can do that on a more regular basis. That is a great idea, Joni, being able to showcase so everybody can see our new guest. So just a couple of different things, additional announcements. We will be recognizing Paul Harris recipients over the next few club meetings. There are people in this room who are going to get a pin. I've been receiving them in the mail, so I'm going to be working with that. I'll be reaching out to you if you're a recipient to determine which meeting works best for you. And we will be starting to include that in our regular club meetings. We will have a special recognition for a couple of other people closer to the holidays, but these will be ones we'll just be including on the regular club meetings. Rotarian Reconnecting team has been going great, and they've been making phone calls and connecting with club members that maybe have been very busy or who we haven't seen in a while. And so thank you once again for taking the time, all of the club members. Again, that is Steve Knoll, Anita Wolgast, Kirk Johnson, Joni Underwood, and Grace Morrison. Feel free to, if you are interested in taking that on, please feel free to reach out to any of those people, but specifically Steve and Anita, and we would love to have you join. Don't forget that this is a very auspicious day. This is our day for really focusing on eradicating polio. So in addition to our wonderful speaker at our noon meeting, we will be doing Pints for Polio, our fundraiser this evening, as well as our past presidents recognition at Constitution Hall. That is from 5 to 7. There will be 4 different types of beer to taste. We're really excited to be able to get together and celebrate. I know that some of it we were thinking about having it also outside. I think we'll just have to play with what's going on with weather. But please join us. Even if you haven't registered, please, if you have a spare time, please join us. The more the merrier. And I would encourage you, if you've not had a chance to visit Constitution Hall recently, come, and thank you so much to Terry Hobbs and her board for offering to host this wonderful event. Stan Martindale, come on up. You have an announcement.
Okay, according to our bylaws, the last meeting in October is the meeting that we announced the slate of officers and directors starting July 1. And my last official duty as immediate past president is to chair that committee. But I want to thank Joni, Marie, Vince has been involved, Steve Knoll, Grace Morrison. That's it, I think. Who have spent some time coming up with a slate. The first couple I'm going to announce is no surprise because there's a normal succession. Next year's president will be Steve Knoll. An immediate past president will be Marie. Our president-elect will be Vince. And here's the one that has a little bit of suspense. The person who will be vice president and program chair is out of town. And I'll give you a little bit of a hint. He is in Orlando, Florida, and he says, I don't want to rub it in, but as soon as the current storms pass by, it'll be 84 there today. He wanted me to let you know that. But in any event, that will be Zach Aarons. So he is going to be our VP and program chair. So that person lines up the programs. Secretary will be Colleen Jameson. Treasurer will be John Wall. Sergeant at Arms, Bob Clausen. We have 3 board members rotating off. So we will have some new board members. First one is Susan Alexander. We will also have Michael Adubatan. And Karen Streeter is going to re-up for another 3-year term. So that is our slate. We do have some of the information for the foundation board. Angel Zimmerman will start her first 3-year term. Scott Teeter is coming on and for a 3-year term, and it says first term, but I believe Scott has been involved in the foundation years ago, so it'll be kind of a recycling. And then Bob Clausen is going to re-up for a second 3-year term. And I think there's a few others that'll be coming down the pike, and we'll let you know about that. So that's our slate for next year. And yeah, and that's okay. Okay, that's it. And the vote will be 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, because I think it has to be the second meeting in November. So that's when we'll have the official vote. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Stan. I'm very excited about our slate of officers and directors, and it just feels like we are doing pandemic recovery and we are coming out of all of this. And everybody's done amazing with staying together, but it feels really okay. Stan has indicated that this is the time to ask for nominations from the floor. I'm saying this for the Zoom people. And so there's that opportunity today, as well as we will bring it again to the club meeting next week. So if there's anybody who really wants to, either over Zoom or in the meeting, please let us know, but you'll have another opportunity next week. Thank you, Stan. Stan has been wearing a lot of hats, and I really appreciate everything that he's been doing. So, And just kind of we've all been doing a really great job with this. So thank you everybody for continuing to wear your masks when attending meetings. It's very much appreciated. The numbers are still in orange, so I was hoping they'd go into yellow, but they haven't yet. So thank you very much. And I love that we've got a nice attendance both on Zoom and in person. So I have the opportunity to introduce our speaker. And as you know, I told you today was a very auspicious day. Today is the day that we are working on helping to eradicate polio. We do it all year long, but today's the day we celebrate about it and we learn a little bit more. And maybe we take away something that we didn't do, and then maybe we consider giving, which is often really a critical part because every little bit counts. I did include in my announcement that the cost of the polio vaccine is $3 per child. So really one little bit of dollars makes a huge difference for people. So we've been very, very fortunate to have as our Rotary International Foundation chair and a past president to really just kind of own Polio Plus and own all the things that we do to really help eradicate polio. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce Roger Eshelman.
All right. Good. No, they don't need to see that. There you go. Ruined your whole appetite. All right. World Polio Day was Sunday, and at our club, we're celebrating today, Thursday, with this program, and then you heard our polio, Pints for Polio tonight. So we'll start. The question is, there's a magic number today. The magic number is 2. What does 2 mean? Yeah, it's why is 2 a special polio number today? 2 countries, even more importantly, 2 cases. In January, there was 1 case of wild polio in Afghanistan, and in January, 1 case of wild polio in Pakistan. There have been no cases of wild polio since then in the world, reported in the world, right? So pretty awesome. That success is due to all of us. For who was here from the beginning? Some of you old guys, Raymond, raise your hand. You know this, right? 40 years, right? 40 years of this. Rotarians in our club and around the world have given generously to make this happen. And critically, the success of all this is due to the Rotarians out in the field delivering those vaccines at great personal risk. There have been hundreds of Rotarians killed delivering vaccines around the world, including 3 in Afghanistan earlier this year. Think about that determination and that sacrifice. That's what it's all about. We're going to start our presentation today with a video. I shall try. We'll come back to it.
Which has helped reduce water cases by over 99% since 1980. This vaccine is easy to administer and has the amazing ability to both protect the individual and prevent person-to-person spread of virus.
This will run about 12 minutes.
If not enough children the weakened polio virus contained in start to separate the community and over time change to a form that causes paralysis. This variant of polio virus is called CPPP, and it is one of the major virus countries in achieving polio.
To address the threat of CPTPP, a global group of experts have worked together for many years to develop a next generation vaccine, one that would carry less risk of changing to a harmful form that would cause paralysis in human settings. The result is the novel oral polio vaccine type 2 or NOPV2 to address the most common type of CBD type 2.
NOPV2 is very similar to the current saving OPV reply, but with key changes to the documentation.
Across all studies, we have seen that NOPV2 is safe, effective, and significantly less likely to change to a form that improves paralysis.
It was amazing to see NOPV2, after a decade in the works, begin to be rolled out from March 2021. We look forward to seeing more countries across different continents using this vital new tool in the future to combat CBDPV2.
NOPV2 is a powerful example of the polio program's innovation to overcome the toughest challenges. Partnering with scientists and leaders from around the world made NOPV2 possible, and this is the kind of collaboration that helps us end polio for good.
Thank you to all of the Rotary members around the world who have raised funds that are directly supporting the new vaccine rollout. We're confident that NOPV2 will help us stop CBDPV2 and bring polio eradication within our country. However, the vaccine sitting in the ground will go to protect China. We must all continue to reach and protect children and recommit to wiping out this terrible.
The vaccine-derived polio outbreaks and then the COVID-19 added complexity to the campaign. Despite these and other challenges, Rotary and its partners adapt, innovate, and forge ahead. Dr. Khalid Jaffrey is with us from the World Health Organization's office in Amman, Jordan. In the first 8 months of 2021, just 2 cases of wild polio were reported, one in Pakistan and one in Afghanistan. Can you explain why the numbers are so low?
This is truly unprecedented that we have seen this decline simultaneously. Why this is happening? I think there are 3 broad factors responsible for this. One is the resumption of mass vaccination campaigns after the interruption of the pandemic. Secondly, there was a resurgence of polio cases in both Pakistan and Afghanistan, starting late 2018 and through 2019 and 2020. And often we see that a period that follows that outbreak period, there is induction of natural immunity by the wild polio virus. And third, we believe that the certain factors associated with the COVID pandemic might have also contributed in an important way. Most importantly, the restrictions in travel and population movement, because the virus moves with people as they are moving. So we are very excited about this opportunity. We are still in the middle of what we call high polio transmission season these days, summer months. We could still see a further increase. Also, we detect cases in the detect viruses in the environment. So we could see a resurgence. So this is a time to really press hard in the use of the opportunity that presents itself.
The Afro region recently reached its 1-year anniversary of being certified wild polio free. 4 years after Nigeria reported its last case of wild polio.
The African region deserves a huge, massive congratulations on this amazing milestone of becoming wild polio free. Our current priority now is to protect Africa from the wild polio virus that is now circulating in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and also for Africa to stop the multiple outbreaks of vaccinated circulating vaccine-derived polio virus. I
know the GPEI just launched its new strategy to end all polio viruses. Why was a new strategy needed?
Previous GPS strategy was developed in 2018. We saw a resurgence of polio in both Pakistan and Afghanistan, both resurgence of viral polio virus, but also vaccine-derived polio. And then we were hit by the pandemic. So many of the elements of the previous strategic plan were no longer valid. So there was an extensive consultative process that GPI took and came up with this new 5-year strategic plan. Some of the most endemic communities are also the ones that suffer from lack of basic health and civic services, better alignment and integration with other basic health and civic services in a way that the Polio program is seen as a more integrated approach to vaccination. There are certain communities where we still miss a number of children, either because there are gaps in the way the vaccination campaigns are organized, or where the communities or have misconceptions about the polio vaccine. So there is social reluctance to embrace this new strategy. Speaks to engaging the communities with new approaches, new strategies, partnering with communities, building new alliances with these communities.
You must find the situation in Afghanistan hugely challenging for the polio program. How do the polio partners work together to adapt in the face of these new challenges?
You know, with the evolving situation in Afghanistan, it is of course very, very important that we partners maintain our neutrality and impartiality of the polio education program. As always, we will continue to work with all parties. The program is used to adapting operationally in its planning and its implementation based on the nature of insecurity, based on the nature of conflict. Currently, we do see opportunities coming up as well, where we may have access to all parts of Afghanistan for implementing mass vaccination campaigns.
Rotary has been fighting to end polio since 1985, well, actually 1979 with the first campaign in the Philippines. Is there a message you'd like to share with the thousands of Rotary members who have viewed this program?
Rotarians are the glue of the global polio eradication effort. They donate their time, they donate their funds, and they are the voice of the civil society that holds all of us and the governments around the world accountable for what we are doing to protect children from polio and how much progress we are making in achieving global polio eradication.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hamid, for your time today, and much more important, for your work in making the world a place that is forever free.
Big thank you to all the Rotarians around the world.
The push to end polio is wonderful.
Okay. How do I get me back? Or I don't care. You guys okay if you don't see me out there, right? You're good? Okay. All right, there were a number of very interesting things there that were kind of said, in my opinion, subtly. I'm going to rephrase some of them not quite so subtly. This may be a little frank and graphic, but we're going to do it anyway. Polio is a very ancient disease. There are paintings of people in Egyptian tombs who are suffering from polio crippling ailments. There are carved stela around the Mid-East and Far East showing disabling effects of polio on people. So we're talking thousands of years. In older times, the virus appears to have been very widespread and was generally mild as it was environmentally present and people were all chronically exposed to it. Mothers even passed on some natural immunity to in utero babies. Polio is a virus and it is spread through ingestion of feces. As the Western world literally cleaned up its sewage act in the 1800s, the broad-based exposure to polio began to fade. So while it's counterintuitive to say that our modern sewage treatment practices caused the explosion of crippling and deadly polio in the 1900s, that is what happened. When polio blew up in the first half of this century, the cause of the disease remained mysterious and little researched. The March of Dimes and our own Capper Foundation were founded to fight polio, find cures, and to help polio victims. Most people, even in the 1900s, who caught polio were asymptomatic, not unlike COVID today. Others had flu-like symptoms and recovered quickly, but the unfortunate minority, about 1%, the virus replicated throughout the central nervous systems, destroyed neurons in the spinal column and the brain, and depending upon the number of neurons killed, paralysis or death resulted. It is certainly the paralysis of the respiratory system in children that most horrifically we remember today. Those cases, we all can, even if we weren't there, most of us weren't there, but the images of rows of children in iron lungs in hospitals all over the country, all over the world, iron lungs breathed for them. We remember that. In the news just this week, if you read it, was a story of a woman in the United States, suffered polio as a child in the 60s. She still sleeps in an iron lung today because she can't make it through the night. She'll stop breathing. So due to the efforts of March of Dimes, Capper Foundation, frightened parents, the scientific community, the cause of polio and transmission were discovered in the late 50s and 60s. Dr. Sabin and Salk and their miraculous vaccines sprung to life, and the USA and most of the first world fixed their polio issues by the late 1960s. Philippines was the first Rotary global project in the late 1970s, and polio was eradicated there. Polio Plus kicked off in the mid 1980s, and here we are today, 45 years later, 2 cases and only 2 cases of polio in the entire world, both in January this year. But the battle is not over. The 2 remaining endemic countries, religious leaders continue to rail against polio and against the vaccine of polio. The Taliban in Afghanistan has been an active enemy of Polio Plus for a number of years, prohibiting vaccinators from getting into remote parts of Afghanistan. And that's not really because the Taliban opposed the vaccine or didn't like the science. The Taliban wanted to control the population, and that was part of their plan. So there is some discussion now that perhaps the Taliban in charge will see this as an opportunity to open up, let mass vaccination happen across the entire country, and then they get credit for it. And as Rotarians, that's okay with us, right? As Americans, it might piss us off pretty much, but as Rotarians, it's still a win if we can get the win. The reason Afghanistan and Pakistan remain endemic is pretty simple. There's a little map on your table if you want to take a look at it. It's not highly detailed. That's the linguistic map of Afghanistan and Pakistan. East Afghanistan and West Pakistan are the same country, the same people, the same language, the same religion. The artificial boundary of Pakistan and Afghanistan was part of the breakup post-World War I, and then the further breakup of the British Empire after World War II. Completely artificial boundary. The entire Afghanistan boundary is artificial. You see the linguistic jumps. Everything up north relates to the countries that are up north. Everything to the east represents 2 major ethnic groups, the Pashtuns and the Baluchistanis. So it's not bashing on any of them. It's just there's no border there. It's one country, and that's where polio's endemic. All right. And those people all live primarily the same lifestyle. I'm going to be gross and clear now, right? There's no such thing as toilet paper in parts of those countries. Flush toilets and sewage systems do not exist in those areas. People practice open defecation or perhaps into pits, usually near the supply of drinking water. People wipe themselves after stool with any available tool, rags, which then get washed in their drinking water, smooth river rocks, which then get thrown back in the river to be cleaned up again. or their hands, which they just wipe in dirt and then go wash off in their drinking water. So it's pretty hard to stop the spread of fecal spread polio under those conditions. And the speaker mentioned other health related things. That's what he's talking about. Very simple sanitary issues that are helping solve the problem at the same time they're getting drops delivered. Public hygiene is as much a success as the drops themselves have been. Now, finally, the success of vaccinations, you saw the COVID, right? You get a shot. Some people still will develop polio because of the shot, just like COVID. It happens occasionally, not frequently, but it does. And it's polio, and it can be just as bad as regular polio, and children can still get crippled and children can still die. We're reaching a danger point where the number of vaccine-derived cases far exceeds the number of wild polio cases. And I am personally very fearful that the worldwide anti-vax movement of all types would focus and dump onto polio now, with people refusing to vaccinate their children because the risk of the vaccine causing polio is far greater than the risk of getting wild polio. We've got to win once and for all, and we've got to win soon, or we will suffer a major worldwide relapse because polio spreads aggressively and viciously throughout water systems. It's that simple. Okay. All right. Time's great. All right. Let me cue this up. We've got about a 6-minute clip. Jingle jangle. That's a happy sound, isn't it? 2.5. Where's your screen?
This is a project we've been involved with for 12 years, 25 to 35 farmers dedicating the proceeds of 1 acre of corn. Those 12 years, and we've raised over $150,000.
We create environments in communities, historical buildings, polio now reality is combined with our basic campaign, a significant fundraising event.
Hemos organizado la Rotary Polio Rex. Invitamos a todos los rotarios del mundo a unirse a nuestro reto del 16 al 24 de octubre. Juntos vamos a celebrar la Semana Mundial contra la Polio. Our Rotary Club will be illuminating open house, one of the iconic stately homes close to our town. And that aids our fundraising effort throughout all the rest of the year.
We're planning to distribute 550 people living in this country, and we are prepared and fundraised up to until 30,000 euros.
Dirty concert is welcome basketball. July 1st, you take on 24. We're moving polio, and you can too. Come join us as we celebrate Rotary's efforts to end polio deaths. This live stream event will provide updates on Rotary's latest efforts to eradicate polio.
Thank you, the Rotary members and supporters for your tireless efforts. We know that as long as the disease remains a threat, you will stay committed to end polio forever.
as you say, this year's World Polio Day program, countless Rotary members are donating their expertise back.
All right. If you want to watch that yourself, it's about a 35-minute start to finish video. There's lots more interesting stuff in it. Easy to find. If you just search World Polio Day 2021, it'll be the first video to pop up and you can follow up. So I'm going to expand on what you just heard there. Rotarians around the world raising money to fight polio. That's where we're going to wrap up here today. We can do it. We are that close and we can do it. And it can be fun, Joni. So come to, fuck that. So please come to Constitution Hall tonight, 5 to 7. Donate your $50 and have a pint for polio. We have 4 varieties of a Blind Tiger beer. You can see the updates to Constitution Hall and hear a brief presentation about their work. A lot of Rotarians, Dave and others working on the hall as a fantastic place. They're getting a big grant. It's going to be cool. You get to see the additions of Rotary Pocket Park. Recognize the past presidents. The new names are being etched on the panel outside. You can say thank you to our past presidents the last few years who have suffered through all this and kept Rotary Topeka together. You can bid on the Callie Crownman original artwork. Who was here when she painted a couple months ago? It's for sale. And Callie just emailed me. She cannot attend tonight because her husband, my brother, tore his shoulder up and had surgery, and he's recovering today. But she's offered to match whatever her art pays, whatever it sells for, she's going to match it. So phenomenal. All profits go to Polio Plus campaign, and all profits mean everything. There's no overhead on this that's not being covered by somebody. Your contributions are tax deductible. You don't have to even try to sign up now. Just show up. Kirk Johnson is going to be at the front table. Kirk, wave your hand. Kirk will take your money. And Joni, thank you, Joni, very much. Take your money, write down your credit card information, take a check, whatever you want to do, we'll get you in. And if you don't want to make a donation, you still want to come drink a beer, come on out. We love you all the same. I'll be serving beer at the back with Steve Knoll and his wife. And so it'll be, here's a glass for you, here's a sip for me, here's a glass for you, here's a sip for me, a glass for you, a sip for me, another sip for me, another sip for me. And if you have an empty growler at home, you know, we budgeted for about 160 drinks. So feel free to bring a growler. There might be leftover beer and you can take some home with you after me. Okay, then here we go. Last item. Get back. I need that off my screen. How do I do that? There we go. Okay. Are we sharing screen? Yeah. All right. If you don't want to attend today, or you can't, or you just want to make a donation, so simple. Rotary.org/donate. It takes you to this page. There's a button right there that says donate. You click the button. And it says, what would you like to support? Annual fund, polio fund, milestone polio fund. Select your country, United States. Select your currency, US dollars. One-time donation. $1,000. It's just as an example. Don't be afraid to click the other and put in 10 or 15 or 20. Okay. Then you can sign in on your regular Rotary account, or you can continue as a guest, fill in your bank information, your credit card information. You're done in 2 minutes. And that accounts to polio. It shows up on your record, applies to Paul Harris Fellowship. It applies as a charitable contribution. You get a letter in the mail from Rotary saying, thank you very much. That simple. Please contribute. Please come tonight. We'll have a great time. And I would add a final thought. Rotary alone could not have got where we are on polio in the world, but the world would not have got to where we are on polio without Rotary. Not possible. It's our success. We need to be happy. We need to keep driving. We need to show up and pay money and make it finish up. That's all I got. Questions? Thank you all so very much. What? Oh, thank you. Is your lovely Pints for Polio glass provided by the Blind Tiger? Were these provided by the Blind Tiger? Our club. So we paid for these. Show up and get your glass. If you've got one at home from the previous, feel free to bring it. If you already have one, we're not going to give you another one. Oh, we might. Let's see. Okay, Steve says yeah, so there you go. Show up, get your glass at the table. Thank you all so very, very much.
That was wonderful. Roger, you have some mad Zoom sharing screen video skills. We know who to tap onto now. Thank you. Yes, please, all of us, if you're able, please join us this evening. And I think it's going to be a wonderful night. You might wear layers. So our next meeting on November 4th will be Rick Knight. He is the gentleman who designed Kay's Garden. He's going to talk to us about all of the decisions that were made for Kay's Garden, and every single stone, every single piece has significant meaning. So please join us. Steve has agreed to be the host for the club meeting tomorrow or on November 4th, because I have to be somewhere else. So thank you, Steve. I can't do this without everybody. If you can tell, we like to do this all as a team. So again, please join us. I think it's going to be a wonderful event. So we'll need to make sure we can record it, because I want to see that. I want to see that program too. So please all stand. We'll do the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Will it be fun and kind? Thank you very much, everybody. Glad to have you here, Marge, and glad to have you here, Dr. Gimbel.